It's sick, it's dirty, it's their job. It's Norm Macdonald in Dirty Work. Revenge is sweet. I don't understand that poster, but man, it's awesome. Directed by Bob Saget, written by Frank Sebastiano, Norm Macdonald, and Fred Wolf. Actually based on a book called Vengeance is Mine Incorporated. It's starring Norm Macdonald, Jack Warren, Artie Lang, Taylor Howard, Don Rickles, R.I.P. especially Don Rickles because he was a G as well. Christopher McDonald, Chevy Chase. It is 82 minutes. June 12th, 1998 is when this all happened. Budget 13 million. Box office 10. Just couldn't get it, guys. But that's okay because the main. Oh, did I say it was directed by Bob Saget?
Danny Tanner himself.
The main issue of the overall presentation of the movie is it is a Saturday Night Live movie through and through. So if you were a fan of Saturday Night Live in this time frame, a lot of characters were getting their own movies, and they just kind of had this weird formula. And while this isn't like a massive Saturday Night Live movie because he's not playing one of his characters,
well,
I mean he is and he isn't, but there's a certain way you have to absorb him through his shtick, through a character. And I don't know if it really rings true because you're trying to make a character be sarcastic and kind of like just monotone with this kind of cocky and demeanor. And it's kind of weird to put him in certain situations, but it's also great because thankfully he's just surrounded by a bunch of characters. Like in every sense of the word, characters.
Yeah. A lot of past comedians in this movie. Now you think about it.
Everybody dies.
My issue with it, not really my issue, but the thing that always kind of like stuck with me, even the first time I watched it. So at the time, I was a big fan of Happy Gilmore, like a lot of people are, annoyingly now. But this movie's opening pacing is almost like down to the beat, the same as Happy Gilmore. And it's almost like some studio assholes is like, just do that and force them to do it. And it doesn't really work. Like the little kid part works for me. But then when it goes to like the teenage part, I was just like, get us out of here. Like we don't need any of this. Like the kid one was fine. Like, except for the guns. I was just like, man, he gave away his whole entire gun collection to get that kid around. I think one would have done it, but, whatever.
Yeah, but that's the volume of the jokes. They're over the top ridiculous. Like, every one of them. There's no building up to which one's kind of crazier than the other one, I feel. It's just like, here's a crazy one. Here's a crazy one. Some of them are like, yeah, okay. And some of them are like, geez, man, like, okay. You try not to watch it with 2021 vision. That's the hard part.
Yeah, it's honestly not that bad from 2021 eyes. I feel like there's definitely like Chris Farley yelling a Saigon whore.
No, dude, they use the word hooker and whore like a period in a sentence. It's so frequent. It makes me laugh because I'm pretty sure it makes them laugh the way the inflection on the word every time they said it. So it really kind of depends. It's so hard to even talk about now because you're just like, who's offended by this? Probably everyone now. I don't even know. Like, who's going to watch it and be like, oh, well, he's calling her that. Dude, like, what? He's saying she's an Asian descent, so it's Saigon, like Miss Saigon. So she's a whore, and that. And no, you're like, oh Jesus, it's just a gag. Just let Chris Farley just be weird, loud, and awesome. And I don't know. So I think a lot of things like that, like you bringing that up, would kind of trigger people. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, but so just to address that elephant in the room. That's always like, give anything 30 years. Look at it in the news right now. Like the baby from the Nirvana cover is suing Nirvana, like saying it's child pornography. Like, and then people are like, yeah, it might actually be because it's just we're so disconnected from it now that just time changes all. So it affects comedy. And like my peeve with comedians is that they feel like nothing. No, we should be able to say whatever anyone said before us. And it's like, well, that's not how anything works. Like you're not exempt just because you're doing it for a laugh. Like shit changes. You can't yell Saigon whore now. So move on. Find something else that's funny. Like, so I mean.
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents. Like shit changes. You're not gonna get away with everything forever just because someone else did. So
no, yeah, it's the whole. It's just like it's a sensitivity thing. Like, are we just becoming too sensitive or becoming too aware? Is there like inclusion things now? It's a different landscape, and that's what makes it. Sometimes I don't find it hard to enjoy because I can take it for what it is, and I already know how I feel about these said topics. Where I'm not going to be like I'm offended. You know what I mean? Because number one, it's a movie. Number two, came out like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So I can't go, this movie, I can't laugh at this joke because the way I feel. I had a Saigon whore kill my dad. That's not funny, guys. Or, you know what I mean? Or it's,
that would actually be kind of funny.
It would be actually.
I'm triggered because a Saigon whore actually killed my father. This fucking
apropos. But yeah, would these jokes land today? Probably not. Because it's just, like you said, it's not written for this time, it's everything. Time changes everything. Time changes how we just perceive stuff. So I don't know.
Well, just dive right in, Kevin. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one because I'm gonna blow your mind. I love Norm Macdonald. I do. I find him hilarious, but I've never enjoyed this movie.
Oh, I know, because I was like, dirty work. You were like, what? And I was like, bro.
I verified that it was dirty work one time. Those motherfuckers act like I was asleep.
Watch.
One time.
So we got Norm Macdonald as Mitch Weaver. We have Sam McKenna is played by Artie Lang. And basically, they're friends from childhood. You were introduced to them in the youngest state possible, I think, to get away with some of the jokes they want to do. And then there's Pops. He's a ex-boxer, and Norm's character, Mitch, is a little creeped out by him. He just never really gets the vibe. And Artie as Sam. Sam is basically, that's his apple pie, man. That's all he has really in his life that doesn't suck is his old man, and he loves him. Dadgummit. And that's the way it is. So you have those three characters. Mitch is getting bullied at school, and he's just getting harassed, and he's like, you know what, I got to get this bully back. So he goes to Sam. He's like, do you still got your dad's guns? And he's like, what? And it shows the bully's desk, and they're just loading all these pistols in the bully's desk, and then it just cuts to the bully being taken out by the police. Is it funny? It's okay. I get it. They're rapscallions. But now you got like guns in schools. Now everybody's just they're done. They're turning off the movie already nowadays. But that's probably the whole thing of this whole movie and this whole review. It's going to be like, oh, remember then and nowadays. So.
And nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, it's commonplace for a different reason.
Exactly. So basically, the big takeaway is Mitch and Sam have learned from Pops. Don't take crap from anyone. You always got to get them back. There's and the second big gag is there's a crossing guard who's basically a pedo, Dustin. As the kids go by, he likes to grab their ass. So the kid, Dustin's loving it.
And quote unquote, I really like this because Norman was like, before people were like looking out for that sort of thing.
No, that's it. So that's literally my favorite part in the movie is his delivery.
Oh, the kid's delivery is great.
Well, of his Norm Macdonald lines in the movie. There's a couple that stand out to me, and I laugh every time. Granted, I've seen this movie like 3 times, but it makes me laugh. So the kids go by the crossing walk, and he's like grabbing the little kid's cheeks, and they're all like, "Hey, oh!" oh, hey. And he's like, you know what we do? We got to get him back. So he puts super glue on his ass and he walks over and the guy grabs his ass and his hand stuck to it. He's like, oh, hey, this guy's grabbing a little kid's ass over here. And the guy's like mortified.
Squeezing 8-year-old butts. And he's just going on about it. Yeah, the kids, I like the first scene of the bully too. You kind of glossed over it, but the bully's like, give me your milk money. And he's just like, afraid I can't do that. I just don't think you're going to use it for milk. Like kids delivery is just so spot on. Norm Macdonald. I was just like,
yeah, he did a pretty good job. Now we're in the teenage years of Norm Macdonald's character Mitch, and it looks like, was it his mom passing?
Yeah, his mom died,
and it was his aunt going up to the coffin. He's kind of standing there, greeting everyone, and she just is just weeping, and she grabs him, puts his head in her bosom and breast and just basically motorboats her. And he's like, ooh, note to self. That's your aunt. And that's the first time we see the tape recorder and him leaving notes to himself throughout his adventure.
Which was a popular just like thing in the 90s and definitely a popular movie gag for sure. I mean, Home Alone 2 popularized it as well for children around the same time. And then just I figured there was something else too that like had a strong like tape recorder presence of like, oh, note to self type of thing. I just remember like note to self was like a big thing. Like,
yeah,
like people still of a certain age still say that. Well, yeah, like it's even ironically, oh, note to self, fuck you.
But they just think you're senile when you say it.
Yeah, I mean the younger generation. Like,
it's this old man over there talking about tape recorders. What the hell is that? Note to self. Oh, he's lost it. Call the paddy wagon.
Call the paddy wagon.
Send
him to the old folks' home. He's fucking gonna break a hip and die. So
he didn't commit a crime. Shut up, copper.
Copper. What the fuck? So yeah, motorboats is his aunt. Introduced the tape recorder gag, and then my favorite shtick, Kevin.
Oh, I wept with joy when I saw an adult Mitch now driving a pizza delivery gig, and he's got to get there in 30 minutes or less. And I said, somewhere Dustin is smiling.
I was not. I was just like, oh my gosh. And he even calls out, why are we still doing this? No other pizza place is doing this. I'm like, and yet here's a movie using the 30 minutes or less gag well after it is expired from the world.
It was a thing, though.
Make my stand that it was a bad business decision for all pizza places. Excuse me, sir, out there. I will fucking say my fucking words about pizza. And 2, it was a tired gag then. It's a tired gag now. If I see one more fucking movie use the 30 minutes or less shit. Fuck. Anyway.
So unfortunately,
him back at the job.
Yeah, he can't get it done. He breaks the guy's balls. It really kind of, and there's really no jokes in here. So I was really like, oh, why did we really push that shtick? Except for when Mitch is like, oh, why do we still do this? His boss is like, you're not fit to wear that shirt. He takes it from him. So now our character is he
just wanted to call him a dirty Sicilian, dude. It was like the whole point. He's like, you tell Guido and all the other dirty Sicilians that I'm not paying for this pizza. I think that was the only reason that joke was in there, just so he could insult Italian people.
I guess. So he's down and out. He's making his way home, and then this part's kind of humorous to me. He sees a bunch of guys walking by and wearing like a shirt that looks familiar. You see a little girl wearing a Canadiens jersey. He's like, "What the hell?" And he looks again, and the guy's what he says. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He sees his girlfriend up in the balcony. She's throwing all his shit out. She's like, "We're done, Mitch. My uncle told me what you did. You quit the pizza job." And he's like, "It wasn't really for me." And she throws another shirt down. He puts it on. That made me kind of chuckle. I was just like, he's got to stay in layers in this fucking movie. Layers.
Oh my god, the '90s layers were fucking.
Dude, he
so
looked like a
bad
nice
in this
skater
movie.
kid.
He did, and his shirt just kept getting longer. Kevin, did you notice that?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was an intentional visual gag, It starts like normal length, and by the end of the movie, it's down to his fucking knees. I was just like, "Are you gonna run up into a rap video after this and just take off the flannel?"
If he would have had like a neon hat backwards, he could have been like a Dunkaroos commercial.
Seriously, I mean, just like,
Google.
oh my god, yeah, yeah. That was one thing I definitely noticed was like, are his shirts getting longer? And then the scene flashed forward, and I was like, oh my god, it is. They are getting longer. Why are his shirts so fucking long? Are they trying to make him look tall or something? He is tall. Maybe they're trying to make him look shorter. I don't even fucking know. It was weird. It was really weird.
He's
But
like,
yeah,
hey.
he's just like, you've had 18 jobs in 3 months. We're through.
Yeah. Real bummy Mitch. He's like throwing all this shit out. And some old dude's like, can I get these in a size 9.5? And the Mitch just grabs his sneakers. And he goes like, hey, you throwing all this stuff. He's like, I paid for some stuff too. He's like, what about the popcorn machine? And she just throws this massive like carnival popcorn machine out the window and it slams.
Why did he buy that? That didn't strike me as like this character is really into like homemade popcorn from a popcorn machine.
I think it's just dumb. Like,
yeah, it was like, what's the dumbest thing he could have bought and complained that wasn't thrown down at him? Popcorn machine.
you have to remember, man, like when I saw this, I thought everything was very humorous, and there's some like some parts I super laughed when I very first saw it. 35 plus years later, I'm seeing it again, and I will let you know the times where I really laughed.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't take notes. I think there's only like 3 times I really, really laughed.
Oh, I remember. They stood out to me. So down on his luck, he makes his way to basically Sam's house. Sam goes to meet him. He's like, hey, what happened? He's like, she threw me out, and can I crash with you guys for a while? And he's like, I kind of don't really get along with Pops, so on and so forth. But safe to say they end up, Mitch gets to stay there. I'm just calling him by his government name. And then you basically kind of go inside and you get to have Jack Warden there as Pops, and R.I.P. to Jack. She's got R.I.P. to everybody.
Except for Artie Lang. Nothing takes out the Lang.
It's very true. So what does he say?
Chase.
He's like, hey man, can you hang out with my dad? I gotta go buy like an accelerator, like a lawnmower or something, really like an alternator. He just says he has to leave for the most weirdest item. I was like, what?
I really don't remember what he said.
It wasn't like a gag. It wasn't meant to be funny, but I was like, did he just make that up? I gotta go buy like a hydraulic jack. Something so stupid. I was like, what the fuck? So he goes to sit down. He's like, oh, your dad kind of creeps me out. And the dad's looking at like he's watching the same workout video
every single time.
Just these girls doing like butt lifts towards each other's butts, and he's looking at like Silver Fox, like
it's
Dick
like
Hill magazine or something.
Yeah, it's like Impotent Men Monthly or some shit.
Yeah, that's funny, dude.
He's like, did you bring me any whores? There's some things I want to try out in here.
Yeah, like I really was.
And he's just like, Pops, your dick doesn't work. He's just like, guys, give me some ideas. I want to try some things.
So they end up staying there, and basically Pops wants to tell Mitch something, and they you kind of see they're kind of going back and forth a little bit. He's kind of busting his balls, putting him in headlocks, just griefing him. And then he basically just has a heart attack. I think there's a couple of scenes after.
No, he sits down with Pops, and he's just like, hey, I just want to thank you for hanging out with me because I'm like a creepy old fuck. And he's like, oh, what? He's just like, you think I can't fucking hear you? And then he has a heart attack. And
yeah, he's like, I'm old, not dead, not deaf, you bastard. So he has a heart attack. Basically, he gets put in the hospital, and one of my favorite parts is just Chevy Chase. This is before you knew Chevy Chase was just an angry old comic asshole. He comes in and he just does these great bits. I can't do him any justice. But the whole point of this scene is that Chevy Chase, as a doctor, I think it's Dr. Farthing or something like that.
It's Farthing.
Or Dr. Farthing. He's a hopeless gambler. A lot of funny, a lot of little jokes that made me chuckle. Especially when he gets the money at the end. He's like, "Ooh, what do you bet that I just don't go to my bookie and pay this?" I was like,
Yeah.
I enjoy
I
pretty much
just love when he's
all
just
the Chevy
like,
Chase parts.
he's just like, so it's not good for your dad. He's like, are you a betting man? He's just like, what? He's like, anyway.
So basically, if they can get
Yeah, this was like you hadn't seen Chevy Chase for a while, and then you saw this, and you're like, oh, Chevy Chase, he's funny. And then Chevy Chase ruined Chevy Chase because again, things move forward. Time, we're more exposed. Chevy Chase used to be able to retreat to his mountain and not offend us in a horrible way. Now he can just do that all the time in his front yard if he wants. Anyway, yeah, they need $50,000 for a heart.
And that's another thing about this movie that I enjoyed because at the time I was pretty into these comedians. I thought they were really funny. I kind of had this kind of, I don't want to say passion for comedy, but I just really kind of admired the way they did a lot of stuff. Like I thought Chris Farley was great. I thought, Chevy Chase was just on this other level. Dude, fucking Don Rickles was a genius, and it's a lot of nostalgia for me in this movie. And to see them again in this kind of almost picturesque mode of like, man, that's when I thought you guys were just so smooth with stuff and just that sarcastic, just dry delivery. I was always a big fan of that. While you had these other levels of like Farley and Rickles that could just like explode with energy. So to kind of see them in that moment, those little moments and just like these small servings, I don't know. I really liked it. So Chevy Chase, the doctor, he's great. They do a lot of gags. I mean, you kind of just have to. I mean, I don't really imagine any of these would hit with anyone that's into comedy now. Like, he would have watched this and be like, "This isn't a Big Bang Theory style." Like, I don't know. I don't even know who this movie is for, except for like old farts. So that's the gimmick. If they can get the 50K, then the dad can get pushed to the top of the list because he's elderly, so he's basically at the bottom of the list. So they basically do what they can to kind of brainstorm to get some money.
No, they go up to the roof and Sam pisses down off the roof while they're talking, having this deep heart-to-heart.
That's the part where he's going to say, "Hey, my sister's giving me like $2,000. That's not going to be enough." And
but like also during the hospital thing, when Sam walks away with Chevy Chase, Pops tells Mitch the news.
Yeah, that basically, I don't know if were they swingers or something, or he just fornicating and everything.
But no, basically, he just
Mitch is his son.
He banged his mom. So
yeah. Mitch is his son, and Sam is his son.
And he has a locket of it because he knew Mitch wouldn't believe him. So he's just like, "Picture it didn't happen. There's a locket of me banging your mother that I wear every day." So,
yeah, and that's funny.
It was all right. It was okay. It was funny.
Because the locket, I think, has actually decent visual gags later on, personally. But what do I know about comedy?
But he's told Mitch, you can't tell Sam. It'll crush him. I don't want to have lied to him his entire life, which is hilarious because he's lied to Mitch his entire life. See the joke, everyone? See that?
Are you laughing yet?
Are you laughing with me yet? But anyway, they got to get that 50 grand. So let's go to the bar instead.
Yeah, they really kind of don't try too hard and go back to what they know so they can introduce. He's like, "Oh, I'm really down. Life's kind of sucking. There's but Lisa, Saigon Horror did bite my nose off." And he looks over and Chris Farley just does Chris Farley. And
he just does Chris Farley with missing a nose, and he has just a great Chris Farley look to him. It's a very Chris Farley character. But you don't just go, "Hey, this is Chris Farley." Like he sells you on this character he's playing, especially later when he's like, "Well, I'm living at the Y, and my roommate, sometimes I catch him staring at me, and
when I'm sleeping."
Yeah, and you're just like, fucking,
his feet bleed.
I believe this character.
They drained his knee. He was like, "Yeah, get it. I don't want to stay at your fucking place."
Yeah. But yeah, and then this is where we introduce Shooter McGavin. I'm sorry, what's his name in this one? Because it's the exact same fucking character and practically the same setup. Travis Cole, and
He's
damn
a
near the
little.
same character again. Kathy, just damn near a carbon copy from Happy Gilmore, sadly.
So the Travis Cole character is basically this retail mogul that just owns all these properties. He's just a big, he's the opposition for our heroes later on, and big, spooky heel manipulator, right?
Yeah, he's horrible build up for him, but yeah.
Um,
The movie does a horrible build up for him.
you meet the possible love interest that just kind of it really isn't, and basically the guys are kind of just feeling their oats. They're down and out, and they start hitting on some girls. Sam goes off to talk to this chick, and then that's when you kind of get the run in with her. I forget her name.
Oh, the character Kathy.
That was her name?
Yeah, that's the love interest for Mitch's character. That's Kathy. Yeah.
Okay.
She yeah, she comes over. They're watching the news. He says some snarky thing about Travis Cole, and then she laughs, and they start talking. But then Sam's hitting out of his league, and there's some frat boy there, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, like you see the woman doesn't want to talk to you. I'm talking to her," and he's like, "Why don't we ask her?" And she's just like, "Really, I don't care. Why don't you guys just fight?" And so
I like
Sam's
that part.
like,
I like where she was like, "Why don't you guys just fight?"
yeah,
And then
she's like not interested in anyone. She's like,
yeah.
just fucking fight, amuse me.
And then Chris
And
Farley's
then
character runs over to play some fight music.
it's 7. You said that 6.
Yeah,
That's
right.
my favorite part of the fucking movie. Just because he's just so Chris Farley in that moment, and then you like Pina Colada plays, and
Hey,
bar fight breaks out.
whoever was the stuntman for Norm Macdonald is a fucking legend.
That guy takes a lot of bumps.
No, dude, the velocity and the way he hits on certain things, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
It looks painful to this day.
There's because there's a whole like gimmick where he's constantly getting thrown out of places, and that's tough enough. I could just imagine all the concrete burns on your hand and the blood blisters and shit. I was like, oh Jesus. He gets thrown through a plate glass window in this bar fight, and that dude goes through shoulder first, he slings. He almost does like a 360, and he just splats on the. I was like, Jesus Christ!
His splat is almost like he hit an invisible wall and just fell straight down from there.
It was
that was a good throw, and then Sam just walks out.
Yeah.
Because I assume the joke is he's too big and fat to throw out, so he just throws himself out very.
Well, that's the running
every
theme.
time.
Like he always gets thrown out, and then
Sam walks out
every time. Yeah.
And
they got to get revenge.
They got to get him back. He's like, he remembers. He was like, I'm tired of taking shit from people. I liked it better when I was young, and I didn't take shit from no one. But they're like, let's get revenge. And they dress up like some police officers. And you're like, ooh, classic police officer gag at the frat house.
One of my favorite jokes in the whole movie, and it's barely even a joke. They call pretending to be one of the frat boys. They call the other frat party, and he's like, "Hey man, there's guys going around pretending to be cops. Don't fall for it. If you got cops coming to your door, they're not real.
Fake cops, yeah."
And then he uses the same phone, and he calls the cops. He's like, "Hey, real cops?" I laughed so hard because the way he said.
Yeah, like they would know that's a fake cops are fucking.
But that's the best part of the.
Yeah. That's a good gag.
That is why I think Norm Macdonald is a genius. It's just that's so subtle, and most people probably wouldn't laugh. They probably just whatever, this is dumb, whatever. But the way he says it, he just pops a little bit. He's like, "Hey, fake cops or like real cops," and the way he does it, I'm like, "This is awesome." That was a laugh out loud moment for me. So I literally think I have them all memorized. So it happens how you'd think it would, and So they knock on the door of the frat house. They said, actually, they call the cops, and the real cops knock on the door of the frat house. They open it up. They're like, "Hey, there's a party going over here. You guys got to keep it down." And the frat boys look at each other like, "Yeah, right." He just slugs one of the cops. I kind of chuckled at the same time. I was like, hey, "He just straight hit him." Those are real cops. And all of a sudden, it's just they're getting pulled out. The real cops are showing up. There's backup. This part made me kind of laugh too because they're all just beating them since like just hardcore beat down in the whole front of the house in the
it's
yard.
When cop beatings were funny.
This yeah, that part was fine, but what made me really laugh it was when Sam and Mitch walk over and he's like, "All right, well, we'll take it from here, guys." And he's like, "All right, give him hell, buddy." And they just like let these guys walk over and pick them up under their arms. It was just the transition in the scene visually and the small ADR dialogue that made me laugh. It was finding comedy in the little dumb moments I don't think were supposed to be inherently overall funny. That's really what I like a lot about this. That made me laugh. And then they do the punch thing where Artie knocks the guy out and then Mitch takes a swing or Sam knocks the guy out, Mitch takes a swing, and he like damn near breaks his hand on his face because Mitch is a little weenie.
Yeah.
We'll take it from here. All right, guys, have at him. It's just through the body language. I don't know. Whatever. Made me laugh.
Yeah. Mitch has an idea.
Yeah, they have to get a job at the movie theater first. This is where it really triggers.
Oh, right.
This Don Rickles scene, so I'm already laughing. Don Rickles is a beast. Basically, it's their first day. He's like, "All right, everybody gather around. I'm the manager. I'm fucking Don Rickles. I'm funny as shit. I'm meaner than hell." They all line up. And he's like, he does this little speech of how he's a hard ass. He's like, "And I'm only doing this for the new guys. We got this big, huge, important person's going to come. It doesn't matter." But the best
movie theater.
The best part is he stands in front of Sam. And he was like, "Look at you. You look like a baby gorilla." I just started dying. I almost pissed my pants back in the day when he said that. I laughed so hard. And you look at fucking Norm Macdonald's face, and he's about to start laughing.
Norm Macdonald doesn't even try not to laugh. He just laughs.
He does that air chew thing where he's like kind of chewing the air and just almost about to bust.
And he's just like, "What are you laughing at?" He's just like, no, just before when you called him a baby gorilla. I felt like that part was probably the realest part of this entire movie.
Well, they use a couple of his outtakes in the like they do the Jackie Chan thing where they just do outtakes, and Don Rickles like, "Look at you, they gave you a movie." And I had a feeling that probably went on a lot harder, but I was like, "Hey, this is like PG-13, Don. You got to pull it back."
Yeah,
because he probably just lit him up. But
it's probably why he's not in the movie for very long.
So. It was just probably so much stuff they couldn't use because just Don was just like, "I'm going off script because I'm funny as shit."
I'm surprised Bob Saget was able to deliver a PG-13. It's probably why it didn't work anymore after this. He's like, "Well, my PG-13 comedy tanked," and
at the end of the day, I'm always going to blame Bob Saget that I didn't get that extra $3 million.
I didn't even know he directed this until today. Like, honest to God, I was like, "Oh, well, that kind of explains some." I mean, it probably means the studio just fucking manhandled so much. Like I said, it's like it was always very apparent to me that there was a lot of like Happy Gilmore trappings on this.
Well, yeah, it's that Saturday Night Live curse. Like, I think the studio's one of these movies to have these certain formulas and beats, and these guys work with each other half the time anyway. So they're just like, "Oh, we got to make it another version." Like, it's a copy and paste of all those type of movies. And before they started doing like Wayne's World was the biggest breakout, I think. I mean,
Wayne's World and then Adam Sandler's characters, like those are the only two.
Yeah,
those are the only two guys that have made buco bucks, until Will Ferrell came around, and that's it. It's like that's your three.
Yeah, well, he's like a different generation. So I think it's just in that time. I don't know. I mean, there's probably ones I'm forgetting about. So someone's probably yelling, "No, you didn't think about," and then. "You stupid," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it, dude."
No, I mean they've all had like mediocre success,
I mean, it's still
Avoid
Coneheads. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, like Conehead's
that's even a
bombed.
different generation. So,
I mean, but well, I mean, Conehead still came out in the '90s though. So
I mean, just of talent. I'm talking about the performers, but yeah, that was the '90s were when Saturday Night Live was like full throttle with these movies, like Pat.
oh god, I forget that movie exists.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So basically, the staff gets ripped, and the man Rickles walks away, and everybody's just like, "Dude, f that guy." And then Norm's like, "You know what? We're gonna get that guy back. He doesn't talk to me like that because, like Dustin said, he ain't taking any shit anymore." And everyone's like, "Yeah, man, that's what I saw. That's what I used to say. Blah blah blah. I need this job, you know." And he's like,
He's like, I'd pay you $20 if you got him back. And
yeah, dunk on that guy for $20. And Mitch is like, $20, you say? Hmm. 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 So the big wigs here to watch the movie, and our boys have replaced the feature film with Men in Black, in parentheses, who like to have sex with each other. And I laughed.
because you can hear Norm Macdonald delivering that line because it's a total Norm Macdonald line.
Yeah, because it has the Men in Black, ellipsis, pause, pregnant pause, beat, who like to have sex with each other. I laughed. I was like, yeah. And I laughed because they played it and it instantly started like 5 seconds into some, and then you just hear these dudes having sex. And I laughed again because the theater just sat there and watched it. Like no one left. Everyone just sat back and just stared oblivious into the screen.
And then Mitch and Sam, they turn and they cover their eyes.
And Sam looks back for a second. They turn their back, arch their butt back, cover their eyes with their forearms.
Just to show that they are not gay in any capacity. But Sam looks, and then Mitch pulls out his fucking his note to self. Sam just looked, and he's like, "No, I was just checking the quality of the video,
making sure it's working."
Yeah, so just a classic, I guess, gay joke without being so like hitting it on the head. I mean, the whole scene is pretty actually hitting it on the head. You know, I mean, fuck it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So it's not great for 2021.
There's a commotion in the theater, and Don Rickles goes to check, and then everyone just plows out of there, and he gets trampled. The big money client's like, you fucking blew it, Don Rickles. And everybody's like, yeah, he lost his job.
He'll never run a movie theater in this town again.
Yeah, there goes his pension. And everyone just starts paying Mitch for just dunking on the boss. And he's just like, oh, yeah, I got us an ideasies. So now they make Dirty Work Inc. They another funny joke, but the payoff kind of sucks to me. They're because I would approve the joke tenfold. So they're setting up the business. They're paying the guy money to rent out the spot, and he's like, hey, he's like, if any forfeit on this payment, whatever, I'm gonna punch you in the stomach. And he was like, oh, he's like, that's Sam's thing. Is
that's Sam's department.
Taking the punch in the stomach. And then Sam idly walks by, unbeknownst to him, with chairs. He's trying to do some moving. He's like, yeah, that's my department. I'll take care of that. And he's like, all right. And then Norm's kind of like, yes. He says yes with his face. He emotes it, and I really like that. Just later on, the payoff for the joke is that shit goes south. The owner of the building punches fucking Artie in the stomach. He's like, oh God, why did he punch me and not you? He's like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's so weird.
Yeah. I would like to see maybe a double down joke on that, where he like punched him in the stomach, then maybe the face. He's like, I had to bet it all to get a couple extra days, something like that. I don't know, whatever. So they go in there, they set it up, and they're first basically.
Well, he runs into Kathy.
That's right.
Walks Kathy all the way back to her job.
Oh no, the best part. Wait, did he met Kathy before?
Yeah, he'd already met her at the bar.
He met her at the bar.
Across the street.
Another joke I dug, everyone who's keeping track, is he opens the door and he looks out. He's like, hey, Matilda. He runs across the street and he's Matilda. And I'm low-key thinking, I was like, bro, was her name Matilda? And she's like, what? He's like, my name's Kathy. He was like, oh, You
She's like,
never
you must
told.
have forgotten my name was Kathy.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you never told me. So I just
I just guessed that you would correct me. So
and I was like, brilliant. I go, guys, make a note. That's how you want to pick up a lady. That's how you do it. In 1998.
1998. So,
Probably 7 when this was recorded.
yeah.
Filmed.
So, yeah, then he walks her all the way back to her job, where another Saturday Night Live alum is working.
He's a bad guy that doesn't treat his employees fairly, and he barks at them, and
just a waste of his damn talents. But
it's so funny because Norm is like, "Whoa, who's that dude?" The way he says it, it felt like take number 8. So, and that too made me chuckle because I was like, "What?" That was the most energy I've ever heard him just spout. And I was like, that took a couple of takes. Way to direct, Bob. You blew it.
He's like, come on, Norm. Give me more than that. I need more. The studio's breathing down my neck on these dailies.
Yeah. But if you rewatch that scene, the way he says it, I was like, whoa,
It's almost like he's really excited to see that man.
Yeah, it is
like
weird.
He really needs to know who is that.
I chuckled because I was like, is that the right emotion? Okay. He's shocked that he was talking that way, but you responded to, whoa, who's that guy?
Who's that dude?
Yeah, who's that dude?
And then his hat flipped on backwards and he just skated off into the fucking 90s sunset.
The Dunkaroos commercial.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, I got to go back to work. Can't lose my job. Everyone's just so in these 90s comedy movies, your job is everything. It's just you're packed with fear.
And you cannot lose it. You
Nowadays,
will not get another one.
Nowadays, no one will work, so it's fine.
No one will work. You're all listening to this. You're probably not working. Hey, we're chumps. We're chumps giving you what you want. Entertainment or content really is all you give a fuck about. So
and I'm jelly. I wish I wasn't working.
Yeah. I wish I had the spine to quit. I just look at my children's future and be like, no, daddy's gambling it all on doing nothing. Anyway.
Yep.
But we learned a key thing of that he's doing a live TV commercial the next day. And Mitch has got an idea. Why didn't they just call him Norm? Like, what was even the point of calling him Mitch?
Maybe that was the name of the book or the short story. I don't know.
Yes. It's probably just like a National Lampoon article or something. Yeah. So someone was like, this is my movie idea. Please make it. And they're like, now we got to pay this guy? Fuck.
We can ask Ronald Dolly.
What?
It was published in the collection of More Tales of the Unexpected. He's British.
Oh, Jesus Christ, the British.
So jeez, dude, is anyone safe, dude? Everyone, he does this as an angry man this evening. So I'm sorry I made you watch Dirty Work just because one of my favorite comics died, and I just wanted to think about him in a positive light instead of hearing all these terrible cancer stories and going through YouTube, seeing him on fucking Conan O'Brien, laughing, stealing the show, wondering why he got fired from Saturday Night Live, finding why Conan he got banned from the Conan show because all these higher ups didn't like him. And Conan was like, well, he's my friend, and he's the funniest, and that was one of the most highest rated segments ever. So guess who showed back up? Norm Macdonald, because he was a G.
Yeah. So
now back at the Dirty Work offices, this dwarf comes in, and he's standing there, and he's wearing this awful suit.
Oh, too soon. You got to do the commercial first.
No, that's right, because
you do the commercial first. Yeah.
So they prep for the commercial. And you see all these Cadillacs set up on a stage, and they're shooting it live for some reason. Like the rationality behind a lot of these things are just not feasible, even in 1998, 97, whatever.
That's it. That's another one of my the things that I couldn't disconnect from in this movie, even watching it originally, was just like, why would they do a lot? Like I get the joke you're setting up for. But it always just felt so forced because it was like, what? Who's doing a live TV commercial for used cars? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, a lot of the setups are just silly. Like,
they're just not believable. They're just there, to make the joke happen, which is like, all right, fine, that's fine.
It's just the overall like, haha, waka waka factor, right? Yeah. So if you're going to take any sort of serious mind into watching it, you're not going to enjoy any of it. But if you like old style of comedy, then because I got a movie for you.
Like Buster Keaton?
Boy, do I got a movie for you. So he starts setting up the commercial. He's going to go live. And for some reason, Norm's allowed to. This set is not locked down at all.
No, not at all. I mean, it's a very independent production, you know? I mean, he's just a used car salesman, Kevin.
You could have paid a dude a donut to lock this set down.
Security was overrated in 98.
It's true. So. He's shooting the commercial. He's talking about how great the cars are. And somehow the team has got a hold of the fobs to pop the trunk.
Yeah.
And they've also had this army of prostitutes that they've recruited to go in the back of the trunks to be dead. Hey, man, I'm loving this in 1998 because the only thing funnier than a hooker, a whore, or a prostitute joke is a dead one. And Hollywood taught me that in the 90s as well because there was a bunch of movies like that.
There was. That was, yeah.
But it's all about the way Norm sells this. He's like, oh, hey, wait a minute. There's dead prostitutes in the back of these trunks. The guy's like, what? No.
He's like, no, what are you talking about? And he's just like, oh my God, I haven't seen this many dead hookers in the back of trunks. I forget the joke, but he's just like going on and on about it. And they just keep popping all the trunks open.
He closes them, they open it, he closes, and then we're live. He's like, we're live, asshole. And then that's the best part. It's when you're live, you paid for that live time, which costs probably millions of dollars. You're getting it.
And he's just like,
live.
He's like, some jerk making your life hell. Fucking call us. We'll make their life hell, you know. And he's like, dirty deeds, blah 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 blah. So they steal the limelight. They get revenge on him for talking to his love interest like shit. And they set up their own TV commercial. Bada bing.
Here come all the jobs rolling in.
You know, instead, here comes Kathy. She's angry. She lost her job.
Yeah. She's giving him an earful the next day. And then that's when our dwarf friend comes in. Hey, guys, I saw your commercial. It was great. They're ignoring him for half the time. He's like, hey, I'm short, not invisible.
Yeah, because Arnie's just like, I think she likes you. And he's just like, I think she hates me. I just lost her job. Yeah. It's the 90s. She needs that shit.
So he basically they take the guy works at a carnival. They go see what his problem is, and it's the bearded lady, Becca Romaine.
With a beard.
And she has a beard. She's a real drunk piece of shit.
And she kicks the dwarf, and then she hits on Norm, but not Sam. But Sam would totally tap that, beard and all. I mean, who wouldn't? It's Rebecca Romaine in the 90s. So who cares if she had a beard?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't bother me in the least bit, but yeah.
So they get revenge, and they shave her beard off when she's in a drunken state in her trailer.
And then the dwarf, as if to out himself as the culprit of hiring them, is spray painting the beard off of her trailer with another dwarf. And I was like, dude, I don't think that's the point. I think you probably could have just done that yourself then at that point, but whatever.
I thought I would have one-upped this joke a little bit if they would have drew a fake beard on her with marker. So we ruined your gimmick. We drew a fake beard back, and you always do the classic wiener on the face. Now I'm laughing.
I mean, that would be classic 90s wiener on the face in a movie.
That's classic every day.
But I mean, there was definitely a lot of 90s movies.
You don't think cavemen were drawing wieners on each other's faces the second
they were just putting wieners on each other's faces? They were like, ha 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 ha, tracing it.
Jesus. So now they got another job, dude, because this guy, he's got a neighbor, Dustin, and this neighbor just won't keep it down.
Yeah.
The noise is too loud. He can't get a night's sleep. I want you to send a message to those neighbors, Dustin. What do?
They break into their home and start putting dead fish.
So stupid.
It's stupid. It's the start of a great gag. Then they come home and the gag. This is honestly my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, so they're setting up the
gag
fishes.
Gets better.
Yeah. And he's like, what are you going to do? He's like, we're going to put fishes everywhere and they won't know where the smell's coming from and they're going to move out. That's the whole plot and that's the whole thought behind this act. So they're sprinkling all these types that just, we're talking like full fish just everywhere
They're
in
like 12 fish deep in this box of fish.
yeah, and this
Like,
is like a mansion, and
yeah.
all of a sudden you hear the doors come, cars pull up, and you're like, uh-oh. So our boys go to hide, and you see these like real 90s gangster thugs, like real mafioso guys come in, and they got suitcases, and they're all tough guys. And he opens the suitcase up, and there's a bunch of cocaine in there. And he's like, so this is it. This is the trade-off. He's like, yeah, man. And they get in their little two groups, and he's like, yeah, so let's do the deal. And he's like, oh wait, one of the other groups like, it smells like fish in here. You smell that? It smells like fish. And he's like, what? Fish?
Is
He's
that
like,
some sort of code? Are you a cop?
yeah, is that a code? You wearing a wire? Is that it? Oh, he's wearing. Oh, fuck! And they all start pulling guns. And then the best part is you cut to the guys hiding in the room, and they're just holding these two fish in each hand, or they're each holding fishes in their hands, just staring towards the sound of the noise. And probably for about 5 minutes, you just hear the kerfuffle that goes on the outside, and these guys just no sell it. They're just so shocked and deadpan, staring at what is transpiring with no emotion but pure shock.
Yeah.
And dude, it's gunshots, violence. This guy's getting me with a chainsaw. Oh no, he's got my chainsaw. Now he's chainsawing me.
just a very classic bit of like, I'm just gonna describe over the top stuff, but you don't get to see it. So
I laughed. I thought
the part that gets me is he's like, we got to get out of here. And fucking Sam has gone back to hiding the fish. Yeah. And he's just like, what are you doing? Fucking forget that now. So, and then the neighbor comes over.
What's up with all the noise? I thought he's like, hey, we got to go.
He's like, so can you pay me in cash? And then he just sees all the dead bodies. So
it makes me wonder, what were they charging? You never really get a sense of, is it what per job? You know what I mean?
I mean, Kevin, how are they going to make $50,000 getting petty revenge on people?
And that's the thing. Like you had to up the ante quickly because throughout the story, they go back and forth to the hospital to check on a pops. And Chevy Chase does this great thing. They're like, dude, what happened to your arm? He's like, oh, they broke my arm. And he's so nonchalant about it.
He's like, you know what's weird about a bookie is if you don't pay them, they break your arm, but then you still owe them money. Doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, hilarious. I laughed because I was like, Chevy, you're killing it right now. You're shaking off that Chevy Chase show vibes, and you're just killing it right now. Remember that shit? Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
So and then you're kind of getting the whole back and forth of like, Pops, don't tell. Pops
is constantly telling him, don't tell Sam.
We do this about 3 times just so basically we can get more Chevy scenes. And that's how I felt it was. It was just the Pops scenes weren't that great, but
no, because Pops, I mean, it's just he's a extreme version of a one-trick pony. Like, yeah, and that pony wears out quick. You're just like, all right,
exactly.
Thank you.
It's literally just an excuse to me to get Chevy Chase in there.
Yeah,
I mean, all those scenes were probably shot, and all Chevy's shit was probably shot in like a half a day. You know what I mean? They just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, no. They were just like, okay, switch Norm's clothes, make his shirt longer.
Yeah.
Bring him back in.
That was it. But I appreciated all those scenes. I think, like I said, I thought Chevy was killer.
And then they get a call from a little old lady. She's gonna get her house bulldozed by our future antagonist, whoever he is, Shooter McGavin.
Travis Cole.
Sure.
He breaks the phone with a baseball bat.
Oh, yeah, because Don Rickles calls and heckles him.
Yeah, he calls, and he smashes the phone. Sam does. And then it rings again, and then Mitch goes to pick it up, and they must have done he got one shot on this. How many phones are you going to break for this shot? He takes the broken receiver, and he tries to hold it up to his head, and they give him a minute to sit on it. They're like, you're doing it. He's like, no. It's not my phone. I can hear you just fine. It's got to be on your end.
Yeah.
I laughed. I laughed just because it's Norm, and he just so smooth. So we find out what the old lady is going to lose her place. Is that she goes to lose her place, or do we do the?
Yeah, they're going to bulldoze her place, and so they do their they go back to their bit earlier as kids where they took out a meter maid for giving parking tickets like a
Oh,
meter maid's supposed to do.
yeah, and
And they
that's right.
fill it full of popcorn.
Yeah, then it just jams up the engine and stuff. So, we stopped that Travis Cole from bulldozing this lady's house, and I got the two old ladies mixed up, even though they did the classic old lady headgear, old lady long hair move. So I could tell the difference.
I mean, they both seem very, and I'm pretty sure one of them is Aunt May. So in
Mm.
the first Spider-Man movies, um, when did they get arrested? Did they get arrested for that one?
Yeah, because they're heroes. Because the media, and then
Yeah,
Travis Cole has to drop the charges because he's
yeah,
portraying
but
himself
not
as like
before they go to jail.
after they go to jail, and he's like, what's the problem? And Sam and Mitch are in the jail cell, and he's like, I don't know about this, Sam. I don't like it. He's like, what's the problem? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, don't you know what they do here? And he's like, no, what? He's like, you don't know what they do here? His face and his shock of Sam not knowing what jail rape is.
No,
Uh,
what's great, what actually works so great about this scene actually did crack me up. This is one of the times I laughed out loud. He whispers in his ear for like a solid minute of runtime. Like the movie runs for a minute and he's whispering stuff. And then Artie Lang's like, no, they don't do that. And then Norm Macdonald is like, Sam's like, he can't even get any in jail. This poor fucking ugly
well,
bastard.
it's funny on that side too, and then it's funny on Mitch's side too, where he's like got the big brain, but he's always like this weird victim.
Yeah.
And then these tough jail types come up to him. They're like, could you come with me? And he's like, okay.
He's just like, okay, not him. No, just you. He's like, all
Yeah,
right.
not him. He's like, hey, calm down there, chubby. And then Norm just kind of just real Charlie Brown walks away with them. Like, no, no, no. And then you just see him coming back, pulling his pants up and tucking his shirt in. And then he's just the best Norm he can be right then.
Yeah, he's like ridiculous. Just really, really ridiculous. Like he doesn't say like rape.
Yeah.
He doesn't even explicitly express what happened. He's just like just real ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Like that's
So
all he
good.
could think
It's
to
just
say.
loved it, man.
Yeah, it's one of the scenes I did legit enjoy the first time I watched it and rewatching it. So
It's him doing a bit that's him. He could do all these little gags he could probably do in a stand up, but they just put this visualness. I mean, his pants being pulled up and trying to tuck that long ass shirt in.
yeah, it's just like he's holding his pants. Like he's just
Yeah,
like his pants no longer fit him, you know.
real defeated, man. Like that. Yeah, like the pants are 2 sizes too big.
I mean they were because it was the 90s and they were dressing him like a fucking teenage
Yeah,
boy or something.
he was in the moment. He was only in his 30s. There's another scene that we forget. We kind of skipped over. When they were looking for money, they went to this food, like Dolly
Brownie testing.
Brownie. Yeah, they were doing this
Yeah, I thought of it too. I was like, oh, we skipped that.
food tasting thing for the brownies, and uh, Sam is just crushing them and eating them. He's like, oh, they're pretty good. And then Mitch takes a tiny nibble after the basically the whatever the scientist tells him. He's like, hey, these are some of the reactions. He takes a tiny corner. He just has this hallucination of just Gary Coleman, Adam Sandler's the devil. They're just crazy, just breaks out. He's got all this uh, lesions and abrasions on his face, the sweats. Kind of funny. Like his reaction.
It's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, if your friend Adam Sandler is going to make a cameo in your movie the way you made a cameo in his movie,
Exactly. That's how you
that's
do
the
it.
way to do it. And it was before Gary Coleman. Like this really shot Gary Coleman back into like pop culture
Yeah.
hilariousness of for people. But like the best part is when you pull out of that and then Artie Lang's like, I don't know, I'm feeling a little itchy. You know, screw that job. Who wants to be itchy?
Yeah.
And I was just like, the way he delivers that, I was like, God, Artie, you were great before the too much drugs. Like,
You could have some of the drugs already, but you had all the drugs.
yeah, you had like you don't have a note. Like you are now Chris Farley in this movie,
Yeah.
which is weird that you aspire to be Chris Farley in this movie.
Because Chris Farley's Chris Farley in this movie.
Yeah, but also like
Chris Farley's
just,
brother
like,
made
the
it out.
nose thing,
Oh yeah.
the nose thing, Kevin.
I don't-
Like, the nose. But anyway, yeah. So they are released on bond. The charge has been dropped, but now Travis Cole's got a job for him. Got a job offer for him.
Yeah, and I guess a little precursor to this, the way some of the movie was edited, I guess it was shot for an R, so there was probably a lot of things that was probably hit a lot harder, but the studio cut it for a 13 because Saturday Night Live movies, like we were talking about. But
Well, and that was, I mean, they were not doing our comedy. I mean, we took Seth Rogen and them to fucking get our comedies back in movie theaters and profitable again.
Yeah.
Before then, it was just like the kiss of fucking death to have an R comedy. It wasn't making any money. So
yeah, that's true.
Which was dumb because it probably just meant you made a bad R rated comedy. So as we've seen, even bad ones now can make money. But yeah, they got to go see Travis Cole. There's a scene here too where we show how evil he is. He fires one of the guys, and he's like, "I want him homeless," and all of his family stripped from him and stuff because we gotta see this gag with him later. And basically, he just offers them a job. He's like, "I got this building with the tenants. They're all prostitutes and drug dealers and whores and stuff." And he's like, "I want to get them out so that I can." Renovate the building and get nice people in there, just real gentrification emotion. And they're like, okay, we'll do it for $50,000. And the only part of this whole scene is he's got that his thumb up that dog's ass. And then they're having like this serious moment, and Artie Lane's like, "Oh, he's totally fucking that dog." And then they just go back into the conversation.
That's funny. That's funny to me. Like,
yeah, no, that was always, I was like, oh god, you got like dog rape in this movie. Shit. No wonder it made $10 million. So domestically.
I don't know. That's funny to me. Like, that's young Kevin. He's laughing at all that. That's great.
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. But yeah. So then, whose grandma lives there, Kevin?
That's Kathy's
grandma. Because he just keeps running into her, and she keeps being dressed in like
really fun, bright colors. I liked it.
Yeah, like it just like really cut to her form factor. I was just like, because I always liked her, but she kind of got unfortunately stuck as like this comedy romantic lead, partially because of this fucking movie and other fucking Happy Madison fucking joints as well. Because she was in like that Rob Schneider The Animal movie as the lead as well. Horrible movie. Don't watch that movie.
Watching that next.
Nah, there's a okay parts of that movie, but that's another one where you're like, ooh, the '90s really let this one come out.
No, that was when Rob Schneider was just being everything but himself, but now
he's too much of himself. So he's just like, I love the My Pillow guy. Oh, okay, Rob. Okay, calm down. But yeah, so we see the apartment complex, and the grandma's working with some young women, and Norm just assumes they're prostitutes.
Are those prostitutes?
Those women. And they're like, they work with my grandma. And he's like, oh. So, and they put out fake pest control notices, and then they just like tent this building and start fucking up this building.
Just fuck it up.
Yeah, and I wish it was I wish some of these gags were a little funnier, because they go back to the fish thing. They go back to Mitch being weak. The only joke that really just gets me is the cherry bombs down the toilet, and then Sam sits down on the toilet to like have a smoke and a shit.
I think the visual is great.
Yeah, and then the toilet just explodes on him. He's just sitting there like, oh yeah. So, but then at the same time, it's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why would he do that? What? This doesn't make any sense. Why is he? When's he have time to take a shit break? Like, aren't they on a schedule?
Hey man, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
And then he finds here's the part though where I'm like, Mitch is a smart guy, but then he finds the grandma's house. It's very obviously a sewing like
room setup. Yeah.
Yeah, like everything in this living room is sewing. There's no there's no signs of like silk sheets or some shit. Anything that would be
It's
like
2 seconds
movie
of
prostitute.
2 seconds of compassion, and then he's just like, "Oh yeah, I like this girl, and this is her mom's, grandma's." Ah, jeez.
He's just like, "Oh, go save Pops," And I'm like, Pops, and that's the thing is like, he doesn't even like Pops. Pops is his real father who's lied to him all his life, and Pops is a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Like Pops is a straight up piece of shit. Every time Pops tells a story about the old days, it's always like, "Hey, here's
fornicating,
how I was like a big piece of shit,"
banging
I'm just like,
ladies.
I'm
So,
like,
and
fuck
that's the
this
thing.
guy.
Like, if you look for this movie, if you can separate this movie for its narrative, it's awful. If you
Yeah.
separate this movie for its characters, the character development, do our characters learn anything? Absolutely not. It's terrible. It fails on all those avenues.
Especially at the end when he's just like, "That's my movie," and I was just like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
we didn't even
it,
fucking try.
no, they don't. And that's the thing. Like, is this a good movie? By no sense of the means as beginning, middle, end of a narrative. Is it Norm Macdonald having Norm Macdonald moments that I enjoy? Most definitely. So like that's it. It's I don't want to say guilty pleasure because I think that's stupid. It's a pleasurable movie to me in that sense, but it's not something I annually pull out and go, I gotta watch Dirty Work again. It brought me joy. It brought me joy again on the
Try for
rewind.
dirty deeds, which is the
And
song that plays during this.
yeah, I
Dude,
mean,
everyone calls this movie Dirty Deeds.
and
So
I've never heard that but you. So
when people are like, "Ah, that one fucking Norm Macdonald movie did Dirty Deeds," and it's like Dirty Works, and they're like, "Nah, that's not it." And they're like, "Okay, sure, guy who just had to ask what the movie title was."
I've never
I
heard that, but you came from a different walk of life, so I believe you.
All
But
right. I mean, I feel like you don't, but thank
no,
you
I
for
I believe you. I just said I believe you. What more do I have to do? Do I have to
it's very
kneel at
patronizing.
the?
It was very patronizing. You were just like, you come from a different walk of life, so I believe
Yeah,
like I'm gonna go ahead and respect what you're saying, but
I don't believe him.
bullshit on this end is what I'm really implying here.
We'll let the listener decide. Dear listener, if you believe,
The listeners are like, "I'm glad he called him out on that. That was some real bullshit."
I mean, if my friend told me that, I don't know if we'd be friends anymore.
Which side are you saying here? With the fucking patronizing one, or that people actually call it dirty work? Yeah, what do you mean call it dirty work? It was dirty deeds. No, it's fucking not. Oh, he was right.
Just
He
get
was
a
right the
fist
whole
fight.
time. Anyway, so they get the building condemned. They find out that the owner of their business is the one that actually owned the building. And now they're going to put up a parking lot for this stupid opera house in this small fucking podunk town that apparently needs an opera house.
They pay paradise, put up a parking lot.
And John Goodman's in this movie for like
A favor.
a fucking cup of coffee and a handshake because he's just like, "I'm the mayor. Thanks. What's your name of this one, dude? Travis Cole. All right. Hey, thanks, Travis Cole. Blah 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 blah." But yeah, so then they go back to get their money because he's real pissed that he finds out that they made a fool of them. They won't be allowed in. Security turns him away, and he takes more amazing throws to the street. Like this one really hurts the way it looks.
Yeah, that I do. Shouts to this stunt man. I hope he's doing good. I hope he takes I'm telling you, man, the hardest bumps. Like you physically,
Bravo.
God damn. Like nowadays, that would have been CG'd, or he would have laid it like just I don't know. They would have shot it differently, not to show the impact. There'd have been a crash pad, but I was like, fuck, Jesus,
Yeah.
shit, like damn.
And there's all these bums outside, and he's like, "Hey, bums, I'll give you $1 to run around in there and make a distraction." And they're like, "Yeah, you really want to get like more of like the crazy piss bums. We're more of like the
made me laugh, dude.
broken life bums and shit."
The bum psychology and the tier system of bums. Very true.
He's like, "How about $2?" And
and
like,
they just smash cut to them running around. Yeah.
So and then they go up to Travis Cole, and he's just like, "Fucking give me my money." And I think at some point we learn that Pops is, I think like we go to the hospital one more time. Mitch tells Sam, like they're brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, so now they don't have the money. Sam's pit. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead on that. Okay, this is the part where they just find out they're not getting the money for Sam. Travis Cole fucked them. Um, and then they get kicked out yet again. Another hard crash.
So
Then they go back to the hospital to tell Pops.
when they go to the Travis Cole part for this first time, or second time, I should say, ish, they kind of zoom in on the one bum. He's like, yeah, this makes me think of the time when I was a dad and I took my daughter to a soccer. And the camera slowly zooms in on him and the music bed changes.
Yeah, it's all like
real sappy, drama. Real hallmarky, real hallmark moment.
I think that guy, I think that's like a running gag. I'm pretty sure that guy has another movie where he does the same thing for like that same crew of people. So I fucking know that guy and this gimmick.
I found that enjoyable. They do it again, and they kind of give you a different response to that joke, and I was fine with it. They did too, and that was all it really needed because they didn't let him go too long.
Well, because Norm Macdonald's just like, "Hey, fucking bub, here's your $2," and just like cuts him off, and he's just like, "Oh, thanks."
And he just they just sit there and hold the $2 and just kind of look at it. I was like, man, they left that shot on him. They still stare at the $2 and kind of look at each other.
Like, we have nothing else to do in this scene.
And I was like, Bob Saget can tell such a story visually.
It's just like, have you heard my voices on America's Funniest Home Videos?
Oh, he's rich.
Remember how I was always going home to my wife? That was a lie, everyone.
Jesus, dude.
What? It was the character he was playing on America's Funniest Home Videos that was going home to his wife. Yeah. Gee, she thought I was attacking the man personally. I was attacking the man's poor ass fucking made up character on a fucking clip show. Shh. Who's the real monster, Kevin? Anyway, they gotta go to the hospital so Mitch can tell Sam that they're brothers and piss off Pops and put him back into another heart attack. And Sam's like, you had everything going for you, and the only thing I had was I had Pops, and you didn't. He's just like, so fuck you.
That was kind of humorous, but it was more.
He's like, you don't have to pay for sex, and so yeah. And that's when we end up back at the bar. It's just like, hey, you think I could stay with you? And Chris Farley goes into his ad lib thing about living at the Y and his roommate looking at him and needing the knee drained.
Last performance from Mr. Farley as well. He would die shortly after a drug overdose.
From after this one? No, I was
no, that was
Matthew Perry. I thought
that was in a can. That was sitting. This was his last performance, from what I understand. The other one was just sitting around. They just released it.
Gotcha. Canadian bacon or something. That's not what it's called. But if you're a big fat man, don't do a Western movie because that will kill you, like John Candy as well. So Wagons East, just saying. But then Mitch sleeps in his car for the night, and for whatever reason, we need to check in on him. And a guy breaks into his car.
Listen, man, I only chuckled because he was wearing full PJs.
full fucking PJs.
The cap,
he
everything.
Taps the guy on the shoulder. He's like, try to get some sleep here. And it just goes back to sleep. The guy runs away with the stereo. And you're just like, okay. He just wakes up cold the next morning. And he patches things up with Sam. He's got a plan to get back at Travis Cole because he finds out he had his recorder running the whole time. So he's just like, let's go get everyone. They go get all the people that they got kicked out. They're going to initiate their plan at the opera, Kevin. So everyone's on board. Give everyone a bunch of brownies.
Yeah, giving everyone a bunch of brownies so they can sneak in and just do shenanigans. Like this.
It honestly kind of fucking sucks. None of it makes that much sense. And then when they do get with Travis Cole, you're just like, what? This is dumb.
That was the thing. Like they have the evidence, or they're going to build up to just the ending really quick. Is Travis Cole admits to doing what he did, and then he has it on the tape recorder, and then he shows hey, I got you blackmailed with this, and then that's kind of it. And like Dustin said, is like that's the movie. Like the third act is just when they're given this kind of, I don't want to say responsibility, but this comeuppance, right? This kind of time to make right for their characters. It to me, I didn't like it because it didn't really work of them being good guys in that sense.
Well, and that, and they're just their plan is really just like utter shit,
I didn't even
you
understand the
know?
plan. Like, and I like when I was just like, so they just create chaos. And the only
Yeah,
thing
they
I
just create chaos. They release skunks. They drug the fucking security guards. They replace the lead with Pops in a fucking hospital gown, and he's super rapey, like super rapey. Where like even then it was just like, damn, dude, like calm down. And he just keeps doing like, hey, fat broad, hey, come on, hey, let me give you something. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, man. And there was just sitting there looking for the longest time. There's one asshole who thinks it's like a brilliant take on the play.
yeah, I remember.
He's the best part because he's just like, bravo! And he's fucking clapping so loud, and he's reading into everything they're doing. Is just like a new take on this fucking old idea. And it's like, man, this fucking guy.
So,
But then they get like Fitzpatrick, the fucking guy that punches people in the stomach, to like punch Travis Cole, and then he's just like, all right, now you're gonna give me my money, and he's like, all right, I'll give you the money, and just like Travis Cole just like buckles instantly after
yeah,
getting hit in the stomach.
I would have really liked it better if there was something they had to overcome instead of
Yeah.
them trying to use their master class in creating chaos. Which I get. That's really that's their only character development. Their only character description is they just
That's the
make
only thing they're
chaos. Right?
good at, you know?
Yeah, it's the only thing they're good at. Like, and they have a modicum of compassion for Pops. That's it. That's all they are. So edited or just a bunch of I don't really I assume jokes would be edited, not really story beats. Who knows? But I did laugh when he writes in the check and he's like, "All right, thanks for this. And you're gonna go home and enjoy a glass of warm Chihuahua piss."
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when I first saw it because his delivery is absolute gold. And I saw it again 30 years later and I laughed again. I was like, fucking Norm, dude, so good. And on the outtakes, you see him trying to say that line. He's busting up before he can even say it. So super
Yeah.
funny. Literally the best part for me was that, like, yeah, the pop scene, it really didn't bother me because it was just that
It
typical night.
bothered me then, it bothered me now because it's so like he's literally just like chasing this woman everywhere, and he's wearing a hospital gown, and I'm supposed to just be like, oh, this sad old man, and I'm just like, God, this sad
I
old
think it
man's
was
trying to
supposed
rape
to
that
be.
woman in front of everyone.
I didn't get that. I just thought it was.
It's pretty creepy, dude.
No, I disagree. I think it's just so over the top. Him just being Waka Waka that it's just it's not even on my radar. It's just so numbingly dismissing. I just dismiss it because I'm just like it's just you're just
Mhm.
making noise in this scene. I don't really like it, and I don't like. It's just that there is that undertone in that from him the whole time because, like you said, they didn't have anything for him to do but just be a fucking poonhound. That was it. That was his character, poonhound, and a bad dad, I guess.
Yeah, like the ultimate bad dad.
Yeah, he had two character traits, but that's pretty much it. And like you said, he's like, "That's my movie." Um,
Yeah, they just wrap it up where, fucking Travis Cole gets arrested for some reason, I guess because he tackles Mitch off of a balcony and they
no,
take
it's
another rough
he
landing.
gets out. Well, the news gets a hold of him destroying the building, so it's
Oh yeah, no, they play it over the loudspeaker, so
yeah, yeah. So it's the
I
cat's
just
out of
don't
the
know.
bag.
The police would just be like, "Oh, arrest that man,
Well,
white collar crime again."
White crawl,
White collar crime, you
white
asshole.
white claw.
White crawl, white claws,
So yeah,
clawed up.
it's
Caca.
real stupid, like comedy movie bad guy ending. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, and then Kathy's driving his car at the end. I was like, why is she driving your car, Mitch? The fuck?
Don't
Doesn't even
forget,
make any sense.
Chris Farley's character hooks up with the Saigon Horror again. It's
They're
everything
driving away, and she bites it. He's like, you bit off my new nose.
hilarious, right?
Yeah, he's like, best $500 I ever spent.
And it just looks like worse than his other nose.
It looks equally, it looks like Frankenstein's nose, basically. So
Yeah, you can see like the stitching. It's gross but funny. And that chick was hot. That bit his nose off. And it's just like I said, awful movie, awful narrative, awful characters. if you like Norm Macdonald, you've already seen this movie. So that's all I have to say. So it's just can I recommend it? Absolutely not, because comedy is subjective. What made me laugh, like I said, won't make you laugh. Does it age well? Absolutely not. There's like dog rape scenes in there where a dog rapes another dog. Kind of funny.
Oh, a skunk rapes the dog.
In the way it's shot, I can just and my mind goes to different categories when I see certain things. I just picture that day of shooting, how to block the camera, how to get this dog to stand here, and someone's got to get this. I just picture that shit of how they do this, and I'm like,
No, you're right. There was a dog rape scene. Yeah, they made it like he's like, my uncle's dog was gay, and
yeah,
it's like,
I think that was at the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the callback is the skunk raping the other dog. And you're just like, oh, right.
Doing all their dirty deeds, as Dustin would say. Yeah, so it's
dirt cheap.
That was the problem. The price was too low.
Way too low. They needed to charge more.
But apparently,
especially with all the laws they were
when
breaking.
They busted Travis, they won the lottery and got that hot car, and now they're just going to keep doing dirty deeds.
That was his car. That was his normal car.
Saw him in a car. Was he in a car?
That was his car. They just put the roof down, dude. That was it.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
That's why I was like, why is she driving his car? I think they like painted it or waxed it or something, but like that was it. Yeah. And then like, because even like Travis Cole says it, he's just like, good luck cashing that check. I'm going to put a stop payment on it. You're never going to get that money. He's like, that contract, that's not going to hold up in court once my lawyers get a hold of it. But then like, because he's going to jail and he made his accountant like high as a kite, that's, they're going to cash the check just fine. Then contract will go through, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, all right, whatever.
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah, that's it, man.
They make a prison rape joke about Travis Cole too, so it's like,
maybe I don't recall that, but yeah. Apparently, Norm Macdonald didn't like the cut of it because it's supposed to be like a R raunchy comedy, but after the studio was done, he was like, "Yeah, I don't really go back to enjoy it anymore. It just I didn't like the way it turned out. It wasn't the movie he wanted to make." So. And I was like, well, I was a dumb kid, Norm, and I thought you were great, so it made me laugh. But like I said, I've already said what my reasoning was. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to watch it just with him passing lately. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna dust this movie off because I thought this guy was great and I was entertained by him greatly. So let's watch a Norm joint on this one.
That's why I didn't say no, and I'll let you take the lead, so you could just enjoy your Norm time. So
yeah,
but it still made me a fan of his work. I liked his body of work, but I agree. I don't really dig this movie because of just like so many gaping plot holes that are in it. But there's these great Norm Macdonald moments and these great Artie Lang moments too. I think so. It's just too bad that the story was. It's hot trash. Note to self, fucking write that part out and the 30 minutes or less pizza joke out. Much better movie already.
So, I'm gonna write a movie that just revolves around the 30 minutes or less guy.
They fucking already did that, Kevin. That's the problem. You're already fucking late to that party. It's just the problem is that like America Ultra thing. He's fucking delivering a 30-minute or less pizza. And he's got the whole pizza with him the whole fucking time or some shit. I don't know. I didn't see that movie.
I didn't see that either. That's that Max Landis guy. You can't. He's
groomer and a doomer.
He's yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's we'll probably do one more regular movie next week, and then it's gonna be spooky time. Spooktacular.
No, spooky time starts next week, dude.
No way, dude. Does it?
Yes.
Dude, next week's the 29th.
We record on Fridays, man.
That's the first?
On Fridays. That's the first.
Yeah. No, man. You got to
do this not in front of the kids.
No one cares. No, dude, that's too much. That's not.
No, it's fine. We already got like 6 of these fucking movies that being requested at us. I'm pretty sure we could do 5 of them.
Man. I'm real particular when it comes to horror.
It's fucking Kevin Hates Everything Horror we're about to watch month. Remember that, everybody? Not just doing remakes this time, I think. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe all of them.
Oh, damn it.
Well, get us out of here.
That's it. You movied. We helped you. Check it out on the social media. Tell your friends, all that good stuff. You can go to YouTube if you want. Who knows? I don't. So follow along. We'll do it again this time next week, and it's going to be some spooky, ooky stuff. So we hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, Dustin.
I'll see you next time as well, Kevin. That's a weird entrance. Note to self: get a better outro.